Monte Rosa has been with us since the beginning of our business. 30 million years ago, Monte Rosa did not exist. A supervolcano was there. Then a tremendously violent eruption occurred, and the volcano collapsed. After that, from 30 to 60 million years ago, the African plate pushed against the European plate, thus raising Monte Rosa. This was a worldwide one-of-a-kind geological event, because it flipped all our strata by 90 degrees. This may sound like an unrelated story, but it holds significant relevance indeed, since while in other parts of Italy with horizontal stratification, I can create an artifact by digging clay in the garden, wetting it, shaping it, and baking it. Here, with our clays, it's a different story. This is because every single town, quarry, and portion of territory offers clays with distinctive characteristics. Therefore, we had to put in a bit more effort. We had to blend these clays, taking into account their technical characteristics. Initially, it was extra work compared to others. But today, it has proven to be an advantage. We can manipulate the material, modify the artifact. So we can use red clay with leaner characteristics, along with the richer red clay. The great gift for Monte Rosa was to provide us with many clays, 3 or 4 red clays, 3 or 4 white clays, even a lignite quarry. And this beautiful gift, which we received from Monte Rosa, allowed us to start studying how to use those clays. My father's story is as simple as it is fascinating. It began in 1956, when my grandmother started a business as a reseller of floorings and coverings. This business continued with my father's involvement. Fascinated and drawn to the world of design, he began to conceive another path. And perhaps unknowingly, he was starting to love a material that other people walked upon. The floor is essential, because to my father, it has always been the support for humanity. As my father became passionate about those clays, the most significant surprise was that by blending them together, working on these recipes just like a chef in the kitchen, he could create these particular terracotta tiles. And following these paths and processes, he ended up working as a prop master for several important architects. My father participated in exhibitions with such designers as Isao Ozoi, Richard Sapper, Gaio Lenti, Michele Barro, Achille Castiglioni, to mention just some of the most renowned ones. But he eventually became also their point of reference for flooring. In the 2000s, we decided to create something new, a path. Yes, before starting to create our terracotta tiles, we conceived a new path. We wanted to try and develop clays in such a way that clays help us improving our life experience. Terracotta floor had to evolve. It had to be a more performing and more practical floor. It had to meet the technical requirements of today's homes. We're talking about a design product, but design is useless if it's not useful. As Achille Castiglioni used to say, CottoZero is the synthesis of the meeting of nature and man. Together they create a technical path, leading these terracotta products to be the only ones available on the market that are stain-resistant, breathable, and with very high mechanical resistance. We decided to take a different path because we wanted to make terracotta that performs. We took all our clays from Monte Rosa, and instead of using them as they are, we ground them more and more, turning them into talc. Then we kneaded them and realized they were much more compact than before. As we couldn't flatten them with our hands any longer, we needed help. We thus decided to press them in the same way that wine is made in our region. We started pressing them mechanically, so to flatten them more and more. We had created a compact and flawless artifact. Then we began refining it. Using the ruler to ensure precision, we started caring for it, without thinking of anything else, without paying attention to whatever was around us. We realized that drying had to be slow, very slow, like the aging of wine. Mixing the clay, shaping it, applying all our processes, drying it slowly, and then putting it in the oven. Every time we opened the oven during tests, it was like a child opening a gift on Christmas morning, because that's where the magic happens, in the oven. In order to avoid thermal shocks within the material, we let the temperature drop slowly, which can take up to 2 days. We use a specific clay with salts that seek oxygen, creating microchannels that are then vitrified with high-temperature baking. If any dirt enters, it can't spread. It breathes and transpires, yet stays stain-free. It breathes and transpires, yet remains a natural material. It breathes and transpires, allowing us to live in a healthy home. We moved from a production traditionally done with wet clays, inserted into the mold by hand movement, regulated with a wooden piece called ruler, and turned on the floor to dry, to a production which is more integrated while remaining artisanal. And as we progressed in these processes, we realized we were making handcrafted terracotta like it was never done in the past. So we were sort of going back to zero. From there, the new CottoZero brand was born. Zero because zero problems, zero thoughts, zero maintenance. CottoZero has these unique qualities. CottoZero breathes but does not stain. CottoZero is mechanically resistant, still retaining the flavor and materiality that only a natural floor can provide. Now we are adding to our mix another clay, which is called CottoZero, and is an atomized, pure, and very white clay to provide color, fusion, and mechanical resistance to our dough. Terracotta is made like bread, in the exact same way, with the same principles of bread making. Our care for the product, the passion we put into making our terracotta tiles, stems from our research for perfection. Our philosophy focused on crafting a well-made terracotta is an integral part of the CottoZero project. CottoZero is not the kind of terracotta which is made by hand, and the more unrefined it is, the more it is considered artisanal. CottoZero is handcrafted terracotta, well-made and accurate, because precision is an essential aspect of craftsmanship, and we are dedicated to making each piece increasingly accurate and flawless. Since, for us, meticulous attention is paramount, and craftsmanship embodies quality. Our terracotta is madness, a madness stemming from a collective knowledge shared by our team, who invest their entire experience in each piece they create, ensuring precision in every single one. The values of CottoZero are not only technical, because we are making a design product, a technical product. Craftsmanship is never casual. It's not just a technical evolution of the material, it's also an aesthetic revolution of the material. Once upon a time, you took clay, put it into a wooden mold, and it stayed there that way. With our technique, which we call hard paste, today we can place clay inside the mold in many ways, like a loaf for surface uniformity, in lumps to recreate the patterns and effects we see in the fields of our region. We are immersed in rice fields. Think of how beautiful it is to see cracked and furrowed soil in these paddies. With the lump technique, we managed to recreate that effect This widens our scope, allowing us to create 16 collections, each different from the other, starting from the use of sand, which is partially left on the tile, as in our collection called Argilla Nobili, to the use of stones from our rivers, from Arcesia, for the creation of the Petrami collection, to the idea of going further and blending 3 white clays that have mixed together with 3 gray clays that have mixed together, which is how we created the magic of the collection named Variegato. Today, CottoZero allows us to venture into settings where terracotta was once unthinkable. Restaurant spaces, public spaces, enabling us to reclaim our role as protagonists in contemporary architecture. This is achieved by preserving the essence of the past while embracing present-day innovation. We aim at introducing handmade terracotta flooring into homes, offering the authentic flavor of true craftsmanship. Each tile, each piece is unique, yet possesses qualities that enhance our living experience. For us, beauty lies in crafting precise and well-made terracotta tiles, meticulously refining corners, paying careful attention to detail, and transforming them into flawless material in our eyes. This allowed us to collaborate with highly prestigious fashion brands, as they recognized and valued our attention to detail. Brands of such caliber as Roberto Cavalli and Max Mara invest the same level of care in their products. Therefore, it's gratifying to be appreciated by these influential fashion brands, which acknowledge the meticulous care we put into our product. For us, our terracotta is a material that seamlessly integrates into modern and classic settings alike, crafted in various ways to bring true comfort into one's home. To us, terracotta means accuracy, and excellence is the meticulous attention we devote to each of our artifacts. For us, this is quality. This is what Made in Italy represents. Intellect and heart moving together to move our hands. CottoZero finds its place in the finest homes worldwide, in prestigious restaurants and hotels, demanding settings which need its high performance. And everywhere this material is required to provide not just excellence, but also lightness and practicality. It stands ready to fulfill its purpose, leaving Monte Rosa to bring a piece of Monte Rosa to every corner of the globe. For our majolica, we aimed at creating a profound union between clay and glaze. To accomplish this, we dedicated effort to enhance the absorbency of our soils, transforming them into true sponges capable of embracing glaze. For clay, absorbing glaze means not just being coated, but genuinely enveloped in the glaze. The glaze is absorbed, creating materiality, and materiality creates depth. The density of glaze is crucial for achieving fullness, since density is what gives depth. To accomplish this, we increased the density, adjusting the ratio between water and glaze. However, we refrained from industrial method, as it goes against our philosophy. This had to be done by hand. As we wanted to push the boundaries of design, all of our collections are conceived, thought out, and created to feature coordinated formats and colors. We aimed at offering everyone the chance to envision themselves with a dress matching their body, which is why we created our Design Dinamico. Design Dinamico allows you to blend all our formats and colors, while respecting the structure of our formats and marrying them with color. This way you can customize your own creations without the constraints of format and color. We faced a great challenge, 35 clay bases that can be colored in 105 colors. This is true freedom. It's also being able to use all these 105 colors in a basin to collect water. But we went further. We wanted to glaze the edges to avoid using profiles. We even wanted to cut our majolica in half and glaze them on the cut to cover all closures. Danilo Ramazzotti collections stem from the observation of nature, of what surrounds us. Ramazzotti collections have many fathers and take their inspiration from many ideas. Impressioni Décor is a collection inspired by lava gazes, which change glazing, making it very precious and eye-catching. The inspiration for another series came from our world, the cellars, where our grandparents used to store their tools after working in the vineyard. This is how the collection called Intonaco was born. The Moresco collection is based on the idea of finding ourselves in an Arab setting, thus bringing into our own world, with our colors, a culture that does not belong to us. The collection called Metallo can be used to coat shapes, be they small or large in size. As we all need color, the makeup series is the color that dresses our way of being, as well as our home settings. Our series named Antico Colori offers a format of brick, as crooked and irregular as it came from the kilns of the past, coated in color. And what do we find in Eden? We find peacock tails, iridescent and reflecting the colors of the mountain. We find trees, and on trees we find leaves. The Edera collection was thus conceived to symbolize nature, Eden, from observation to composition and modeling. This is the way our collections are made. They are made of ideas. They are made of manual skills. But above all, they are made of observation and modeling. When we create our collections, we take care of the entire process. Here, powders enter and the finished product exits. We begin the process by developing the prototype, crafting the artifact, and refining the design, essentially defining what we want the collection to embody. After creating the initial artifact, we engage in thorough reflections, and we create the mold in plaster and resin, with which we'll bring our envisioned concept to life. We like to do everything in-house. We like the fact that we receive powders and deliver collection. What distinguishes Ramazzotti majolica is the high density used for glazing. It's essential for providing materiality because the biscuit does its job by absorbing the glaze, but it's the density of the glaze that discloses depth. It represents the perfect union between glaze and clay. And these elements get refined over time. These are written formulas that we pass down to each other. But what's most important is the eye of craftsmen. Through their experience, they already know what density is and what's missing. Likewise, the hand movement to apply glazing. And now those gestures have become a second nature to us. What always stays unchanged is the passion we feel every time, knowing that we're making something beautiful. And this is the most beautiful aspect, a feeling passed down to me and now embraced by our craftsmen. When glazing a tile, it's like going into freediving. Nothing else exists. There's nobody else around. You're only focused on what you're doing. And each piece you're working on has only one chance to become something great. The fundamental thing about the whole process is that the same person who prepares the glaze is the one who applies it. Here we have a process for a collection called Antico Colori, where we apply a 100-100 glazing, which means that we give 4 coats by spray, then we use a sieve, like the one used for grandmother's cake. Pure glaze rests and becomes liquid in the oven. Then it compacts again and maintains the sinuosity of movement. We live and work in a territory which is unique, dominated by Monte Rosa and adorned with lakes, like Lago Maggiore and Lago d'Orta. Our region boasts vineyards and is rich in artisanal and farming traditions. We have a tradition of strong passions connected to our territory. These intense passions empower us to create artifacts that embrace our surroundings and aim at showcasing our territory to the world. Terracotta and majolica represent the lands of our region, the water from our lakes. They are materials to live and love.